that was really respectful and nice of you. And so he's going to tell you all about that. Mr. Avila is setting this up. Now, the reason that we're not ready, because we would normally be ready, is that we were going to go out and do this on a tennis court. But I was looking at my radar, and I was really concerned that the storm was going to get us. And right before we walked out the door, I walked out, right before kindergarten went out, big crash of thunder. I'm like, nope, we're staying in. And I think that was a great decision. So now we have to kind of move things inside so that you can see the thing. I'll bet you remember, you want to tell my told a little bit about you.
Thank you, Dr. Cheyenne. Hey guys! How are you guys today? Just getting set up, but in the meantime, we will start things off. My name is David Loewenthal, and I'm coming to you guys today from Denver. Who's been to Denver before? Whoa! Should I ask, has anyone not been to Denver? Well, I'm super excited. We're going to have a ton of fun today. We might be stuck in the auditorium. I was hoping we could get out onto the tennis court today. Hi there. But thank you to Dr. Smith and Mr. Martinez for inviting me here today. I coach tennis now. I coach the women's tennis team at the University of Denver. So I'm coming to you guys from Denver. I drove up here. I'm super pumped to be here with you guys today. Talk with you guys about my tennis background, what it took for me to become a tennis player, and now as a coach. But more importantly, to talk about you guys, right? Because you guys are tennis players, right? Awesome. I've heard so many wonderful things about Poder, the academy here. You guys are a big tennis bunch, right? We're going to talk a lot about what it's going to take for you guys to reach your dreams, both on the court and in the classroom today. All right? You guys excited?
Yes.
All right. Wow. Actually, it was pretty good. Let me see here. All right, looks good. So before we start today, because I know you guys are a tennis bunch, you're a passionate tennis bunch, and I know you guys are young in your development right now, I just want to get a sense from you guys, what you guys are dreaming about right now, okay? I want to see, for the next level up, right? For the next level from where you guys are K through 6, right? Yeah. Kindergarten through 6th grade? Yeah. So the next level up for you guys probably is high school tennis, right? Who here, by a show of hands, would like to one day play high school tennis? Raise your hand. Wow, nice. To play on a high school team, to represent your school, to play with teammates. You guys are all wanting to play high school tennis, most of you guys? Very good, very good. Awesome. Very cool. All right, all right, how about the next level up? Next level up, who here would like to play college tennis one day? Raise your hand. Raise your hands high. To play for a university, right? To play for your team. All right, very cool. One day maybe you can get a scholarship. I know your parents would like that. All right, last question. Last question. Who here are my dreamers? Who wants to play professional tennis one day? To reach for the stars, to play professional tennis, maybe travel the world, be a professional athlete one day? All right. All right, hands down, hands down. That's awesome. I saw just about every hand raised up. Many of you guys raised them for all three, which is very cool. And again, thank you to Dr. Smith and Mr. Martinez for inviting me here today because, believe it or not, I actually was able to accomplish all three. I know it doesn't look like it. I played high school tennis. I grew up in New Jersey. I played high school tennis at Ramapo High School, New Jersey for 4 years. And from there, I went on to play college tennis on a scholarship at Wake Forest University. Have any of you ever heard of Wake Forest University? All right, go Deeks. And Wake Forest is in North Carolina, also on the East Coast. And then because I was able to graduate from college, which is super important, we're going to talk about that, I was able to actually play professional tennis. I felt like I had enough support from my friends and family. I felt like I was at a high enough level to play professional tennis. And even went on to play champion like Juan Martín del Potro. Have you guys heard of Juan Martín del Potro? Yeah. All right. Very cool. But before I kind of share more with you guys about my experience, and then of course talking about how you guys achieve your dreams, I want to start with a little bit of a challenge. You guys up for that?
Oh yeah!
Warmed up, you guys raise your hands for those 3 questions up there. We're going to have a little bit of fun. I want you guys to listen up. I'll give you guys some instructions. You're either going to raise your right arm or your left arm, it doesn't matter which one, and I want you guys to raise it up as high as possible. Don't do it yet. Listen up. Raise it up as high as you can, and then I want you guys to pause where you feel like it's the absolute highest you could possibly reach. All right, go for it. Are you guys all paused at the very tippy top? Yes. All right, listen up. From this point forward, the challenge is I want you to raise that same arm another 1 or 2 inches. Yes, you can do it. I promise you can.
How'd you do? Drop.
What do you guys think? I saw a lot of you guys were able to raise it a little bit higher
Did you guys quit one game?
than where you thought was your absolute max height, your max limit. Am I right? Some of you guys were able to raise it a little bit higher. Maybe using your other arm this time, maybe you want to hear just for maybe a couple of you guys. What do you guys think about the fact that you were able to push past the limit that you thought you were at? Let me hear from just a couple of you guys. All right, who wants to talk? Right here, this young lady right here. What's her name? Ivy. Beautiful name. What do you think that you were able to reach just up a little bit higher than you thought was your maximum height? That you were brave enough. Good answer. She was brave enough to raise up just a little bit higher. How about somebody else? This young woman. Not right here. What's your name? What is it? Gianni. Nice name. What do you think? Were you able to raise your arm just a little bit higher than you thought? What do you think about that? What do you think that you were able to push past that limit just by me simply asking you to raise it just a little bit higher, even though you thought it was your absolute peak? What's that? I'll come back to you on that one. All right, one last answer. What's your name? Okay, what do you think? Were you able to reach up just another inch or 2? Okay, what do you think about that? That was the highest, that you reached even higher. All right, very cool. You know, I've done that exercise with our girls on the college tennis team, and they had some really similar answers, which is awesome. Great answers. All right, I guess for me, if I think about it, I think back when I was your guys' age, I think back when I was in my mom's kitchen, she had this quote on a refrigerator door. And it was by a man named Thomas Edison. Do you guys know who Thomas Edison is? Awesome. Because if you haven't learned about Thomas Edison, you definitely will. Thomas Edison was a really great inventor. He invented the light bulb. Excellent. You guys are smart. But Thomas Edison, he also had this one statement that still has stuck with me to this day. And if you read it with me on the slide here, he said, if we did all the things we were capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. Alright? We would astound ourselves. And I want you guys to think, because I really would like to start today with the essence of that statement and the exercise we just did about raising our arms just a little bit further than we thought we could. Because you guys are capable, alright? If you guys want to reach that high school tennis level, or college tennis level, or you're even to play as a professional tennis player one day, you guys are absolutely capable, right? You might not think so, you might think that you're limited, but I want you guys to think about that arm raising exercise, and think about this quote, and then remind yourselves that you can do it, okay? You guys just simply need a roadmap, all right? And that's maybe why I'm here today. I'm going to be one of many, many people along your journey. We're going to help push you guys in the right direction to achieve your guys' dreams, okay? Now, sometimes we're going to feel like we're moving in the right direction. Sometimes we're going to feel like we're moving in the wrong direction. But it's all fine because that's really at the essence of life. And that's really where I'd like to start today because tennis is very similar to life, okay? It's so similar. And I want to start today talking about how tennis, as you guys start, whether we get on a court today or not, when you guys practice and train and play matches as you guys grow and develop, you're not going to feel like tennis is one of those games where you're going to feel like you're moving in a perfect, straight line, positive development every single day. All right? There are going to be many, many occasions where you're going to feel like, I'm just struggling, I'm moving in the wrong direction. You might even feel like at times you're even failing, okay? But if you remember one thing today, guys, I want you guys to think about when I fail, it's okay. I should embrace that failure. I should even love that failure because if you're failing at times, it means you're challenging yourself, right? It means you're trying something new, okay? I'm actually reminded of when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was a junior tennis player at the time, and my coach was working with me on some new techniques on the tennis court that would help me improve for the long term. I was really struggling with it. And I played this young kid, this junior, who I'd beaten so many times before. And that day I lost. I came off the court and I was crying and I was screaming. I told my parents that I quit. I never wanted to touch a tennis racket ever again. Crazy, right? But I didn't know it at the time, but only a few years later I'd be playing college tennis, and then a few years even further down the line I'd be playing professional tennis. But at that moment in time I wanted to quit, okay? So you'll see that I like these quotes, and I want you guys to read this one with me too, because I'm always reminded about this. It is hard to fail, but it is worse to succeed. Alright? And now you might be thinking, alright, well David's on stage, he's talking about how much he loves failing and everything. What if I just always fail, right? What if I just fail over and over again? Won't then I move in the wrong direction? Yeah. Well, I would make two quick comments about that, okay? Because if we're failing and we're continuing to fail and continuing to make mistakes, but we're not learning from our mistakes, then yes, we might move in the wrong direction. We might not improve, okay? And then also, if we're failing and we're continuing to fail because we're just simply not putting in the right amount of effort, time, and dedication, then also, yes, we might not move in the direction that we want to reach our dreams, all right? But with the first comment about making the same mistakes, continuing to fail, and not learning from them, do you guys know who Albert Einstein is? Yeah. We talked about Thomas Edison. We're going to talk about Albert Einstein right now. Albert Einstein actually had a definition for this. He said that if we do the same things over and over again and expect different results, meaning positive results, that is the very definition of insanity. Now you guys You can tell your parents that you learned what the definition of insanity is today. They might actually get a good chuckle out of that. On the second point, we got to make sure that we're putting in the time and the dedication and the effort into achieving our dreams, right? Right now, I coach, as I mentioned, the ladies tennis team down at the University of Denver. These girls are 18 to 22-year-old, and they work on the court about 4 or 5 hours a day practicing tennis, doing fitness, strength and conditioning, not to mention the fact that they're also full-time students, just like you guys. So they're in the classroom, they're studying for their tests, they're doing their homework, projects, all right? And you might be thinking, well, these are tip-top athletes at the top of their games, and of course they're doing it. But as I'm actually talking with you guys, maybe I ran in Denver, maybe not, but there's a young boy who's actually similar in age to many of you guys. His name is Teo. All right, he lives in Denver. He's 6 years old, and Teo loves tennis. Loves tennis. He would sleep on a tennis court if he could. I promise you. I think I've seen him one time. I think he had a pillow out on the tennis court, I'm pretty sure. But Teo, I bring up Teo because he's similar in age to a lot of you guys, and he loves tennis. I think he's in first grade, and I've seen him out on the tennis court at 6 a.m. before school, and he practices with his dad for like an hour, hour and a half. Then he goes to school, and then as soon as he's done with school, where does he want to go? He wants to go back to the tennis court. And then he practices again for another hour, hour and a half with his father. And I asked his dad once if he ever has a day off, and he said, yeah, he has a day off on Sunday, but we usually go skiing. So Teo is always doing something. He's always practicing, right? And Teo, maybe his dream is to become a professional tennis player, okay? And the reason why I bring up Teo is not to tell you guys that you have to be on the tennis court 4 hours a day for the rest of your lives. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Alright? What I'd like to just make sure you guys remember is that somewhere out there in this world, there's somebody who's maybe the same age, or maybe the same level, or maybe both, okay? Who's out there and is trying their hardest. And you guys always have to remember to ask yourselves, are you doing everything that you possibly can to reach those dreams, right? And we talked a little bit about them, whether it's high school tennis, college, or even to reach for the stars and play professional tennis. Okay? So, now that we've talked about putting in all of the time and the effort and dedication, you might be asking, well, what if I practice 24 hours a day and just put in the maximum amount of time that's even possible? Well, then I get better. And I will say to you that this is another statement that I really, really love, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard it. If not, you will. It's that statement of quality over quantity, right? Because we could practice every hour of the day, every day of the week, every week of the year, and we could never reach those extra 2 inches if we're not thinking about what we're doing, right? We have to make sure that we're making our practices and our training quality, right? And if we get out there today, I'm going to make sure that we're focused on the quality, all right? Hopefully the sun comes out, all right? But rather than just leave you guys with that statement, if we get out there today, I want us to work on one thing, because I have a tip for you guys, how to maximize quality over quantity. And it's right in the center of the screen, is to find your strength and to master it, okay? And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is today, if we get out there, or tomorrow when you guys practice tennis in school here, or if it's next week, next month, next year, I promise you this, on your journey developing as tennis players, that you will find at some point in your development that something's going to come a little bit more comfortably, all right? It's going to be a little bit more natural, okay? It might not be easy, but it will come a little bit more naturally to you guys. That's your strength. And at that point, you've identified what your strength is, and from that point forward, you have to make sure that you polish that strength, you master that strength, and you turn that strength into a weapon. I want you guys to think of some of your favorite tennis players. Maybe I'll hear from a couple of you guys. Who's your favorite tennis player?
I don't know.
Who's your favorite tennis player?
You.
Me? Thank you. Who's your favorite tennis player?
Mr. Huff.
All right, we're lucky. I right, well, if it's your favorite tennis player, professional, is Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, all right, or Serena Williams, Venus Williams. Roger Federer, good. All right, I want you guys to think about your favorite tennis player, all right? Because any of your favorite tennis players, they all have a strength, all right? They've mastered that strength, and they've turned that strength into a weapon, all right? And for you guys, I want you guys to think, even in this early stage of developing as tennis players, it could be anything, right? It could be your forehand out there today or tomorrow. It could be your backhand. It could be your volleys. It could be your serve, overheads. It could be something that's not even a stroke. It could be your footwork, all right? It could be your mental toughness. That could be your strength, all right? Whatever it is, you got to go out there and you got to master it, all right? One kind of final story, although I might have one more. I might keep it to the end. But you guys know who Andy Roddick is? Well, Andy and I are actually the same age, and he retired already. So I feel old. But Andy and I were the same age. We grew up playing tournaments since 10 years old across the country, and Andy was always a top player. And Andy, much like myself, as I mentioned earlier, when he was about 17 years old, he actually wanted to quit tennis. Can you believe that? At 17, he was on one of those downward paths, right, where he felt like he was failing. And he actually wanted to quit tennis. And Andy disappeared from tennis for about 6 months. Nobody knew where Andy went. So we found out, after he returned, after 6 months, what he had done. He had worked. He had picked a coach out, and he worked on the court for 6 months on one shot and one shot alone. He always had a really good serve, but he didn't have a great serve. All right, that was his strength, but he never polished it. He never mastered it. He never made it into a weapon. Well, in those 6 months, he did just that. He only worked on the serve. He made it into an absolute weapon. He came back after 6 months, and he left all of us in the dust. And by the age of 21, he won the U.S. Open. Pretty cool, right? So again, I want to stress, whether we get out on the court today, or if you guys work on it tomorrow, make sure that you guys are paying attention to what your strength is, what's coming most naturally to you guys, because once you've identified that, focus in on that. That's how you're going to achieve quality over quantity. All right. We're almost at the end. I just want to do a quick recap, all right? We have made sure, I've promised you guys, that you are capable. We've demonstrated that, right? Remember Thomas Edison's quote? Remember the arm raising exercise? You guys have proven that you guys are capable, even though you might not think you are. Okay? Now that we know that you're capable, we have to set your expectations appropriately, right? We have to make sure that failure is part of our journey, and we got to embrace failure. We want to make sure that we're learning from our mistakes, right? So that we're not doomed to always fail. And we want to make sure that we're putting in the appropriate amount of time, effort, and dedication. But at the same time, all those hours, we want to make sure we're focused on quality over quantity. And how are we going to do that? We're going to find our strength, and we're going to master it. We're going to turn it into a weapon, okay? So last couple things. Because I know Code Air Academy is big on chess and tennis, right? All right, I see a lot of really good chess players. I bet half of you guys could beat me in chess right now. But listen up. Chess, similar to tennis, it's just a game, right? There's always going to be one winner and one loser, right? And the reason I bring that up is because as a tennis player, we're often very, very preoccupied with how we played, right? I played well, or I didn't play well. And we're never focused too much on our opponents. We're always focused on what we did well or we didn't do well. And I'm reminded, this year is an Olympics year, right? Are you guys all going to watch the Olympics this summer? Yeah! Very cool. All right. Glad to I encourage all of you guys to watch the Olympics, but I think back to many years ago, the Summer Olympics, and I was watching one of the sprinters. He won a 100-meter dash. Okay? He won the gold medal. And then he came off the podium after receiving his gold medal, and one of the broadcasters asked him what it felt like to be the fastest man alive. The fastest man alive. And that sprinter, even though he had just won the gold medal at the Olympics, he said, "I am not the fastest man alive." And then the broadcaster looked at him puzzled, and he said, "All I was simply faster than my 9 opponents just moments ago." All right? And I hope that kind of just helps you guys understand, just like tennis or in chess, you don't have to be the best player ever, every single day. You have to just simply figure out a way, whether it's in chess or tennis, to just beat that one opponent on that one day. All right? Second to last point here is that we know that we're going to fail sometimes. We're going to come off the court losing a match, or in a chess match, losing to our opponent. We must always take sportsmanship seriously, right? You guys talk about that in class now? I'll just cut right to the chase with tennis specifically, right? It's so important that you guys stress the importance of sportsmanship, that we're never throwing our rackets, we're never swearing out there, we're being respectful of our opponents and the referees and the audience. And then also keeping in mind that when we're out on a tennis court, we're always representing more than ourselves, right? If we're on a team like a high school team or a college team, we're representing that team, or we're representing that school, we're representing our parents, our family, and friends. Somebody might be watching tennis for the very first time, ever, and you want to make sure that you're showcasing tennis in a positive light, okay? All right, last point. I know you guys are going to love this. I'm going to talk about the importance of school and your studies. All right? Oh, no. Last point, I promise. All right? And I know you guys might be rolling your eyes. Oh, no, David's going to talk about school, studies, homework. And yes, all of that's going to help your tennis. It might help your discipline, your focus out there, your time management. It might help you get a college scholarship. All right? That's all very important, but I want to leave you guys with one last point about the importance of school and your studies, because it's a fun thing to focus on. All right? One last story. I mentioned Juan Martín del Potro before. I was just an okay student, but I always loved Spanish. I know you guys, some of you guys are already learning Spanish a little bit, all right? I studied Spanish from middle school to high school and then into college, all right? And then when I played professional tennis, I tried as often as I could to travel to Spanish-speaking countries. And one of the countries that I went to was Ecuador in South America. Do you guys know Ecuador?
Yeah.
So when I was in Ecuador, I arrived at the airport by myself, and there was only one other player there, and it happened to be Juan Martín del Potro. He was about 15 or 16 in age at the time. And Juan spoke zero English. Zero. Okay? He and I were about to embark on a 2-hour bus ride together, and it was because I paid attention in my Spanish classes, and I dedicated a lot of time, effort in my studies towards Spanish and learning the language, that bus ride ended up being an opportunity for me to have a ton of fun. We shared stories, we shared laughs, all right? We shared our journey together. If I hadn't done that, if I had not put in the time and effort towards studying Spanish, that bus ride could have been complete silence. So I hope that showcases to you guys that your studies and your academics could take you on any journey imaginable. You can meet people that you would otherwise never have met, make new friends, okay? Super important, and it's super fun, all right? So with that, we have time for some questions, maybe. I don't know where we are in time. No questions. Time out?
Yeah,
we're done.
Time.
Thank you guys.
Sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, but this is David is supposed to go out and talk to parents, and there are parents waiting, and we kind of got a little bit behind because of the weather, so we're about 15 minutes past our time already. So you guys have been an awesome audience. Let's tell David how much we appreciate it.